This episode of the John Lebang Show is brought to you by Banger for President 2016.
Yeah, when the two-party system leaves you feeling ill deep down, then you only have one option. Vote for none of the above, man, or else you'll get the runs.
Banger 2016.
I'm John Lebang, and I approve this message. The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the John Lebang Show.
Greetings, fellow travelers, and alert the media. The banger is on the microphone. Welcome to this week's second hour of the John Lebang Show. I am, of course, your host, John Lebang, bringing you the finest in radio broadcasting entertainment. For your buck, anyways, and it doesn't cost you anything to come here, so that's a great deal if you think about it. You get an hour or two of entertainment each and every week, and it doesn't even cost you a dime. You can't go nowhere for that. Or anywhere, anyways. What does it cost you? $10 to go to a movie? Plus the popcorn and the coffee or the pop, and like some of my buddies do, they get the alcohol there because they're serving alcohol now, and then they get a super drunk before they go into the movie. So that's an expensive night. You can't go out to dinner without it costing you $30-40. Going to a baseball game or hockey game or football game costing you tons and tons of money. It even costs you to get Netflix if you want to stay home. You got to pay that monthly charge, but not here. It's free, ladies and gentlemen. So as you can see, you get more bang for your buck here at the John Lebang Show. So I had an interesting night last night. It was a rough night. I didn't sleep too well. In fact, I did get into some really deep sleep because I actually remember a dream. Normally, I don't remember a dream. But I had a dream last night. And it was a pretty intense dream. And I thought I'd talk about it since we've talked about the election so much. And maybe my dreams are getting weird because we've talked about the election so much, and we've talked about the campaign and the people in the campaign and the entire future of the United States. And maybe it's just like I've gotten into this brain overload here, and I needed my subconscious decided to go whack job on me. I don't know. So the dream started where I'm at home working on my radio show, something I normally do, and I hear a knock at the door, and I ignore it for a little bit, but the knock continues to persist, driving me batty, actually. So I go to the door, and I open the door, and there's this woman there. We're going to call her Jill, because that's what she called herself in the dream there. Her name is Jill. And she was asking to come in my home because she wanted to tell me something. And I'm leery about these sort of things, even in my dreams. But eventually she convinced me. And in my dreams, she goes into this giant sob story of all these things that have happened and how she wants to make things better in the world, and she just needs my help because she has no place to stay. She has no place to stay right now. And she's asking me for a place to stay. And I'm like, in my dream, I'm like, well, she's good looking. You never know. Why not? In my dream, I said, come on in. Now, in real life, I'd say, what the heck? You get the hell out of here. But in my dream, I must be thinking with the little brain up there. I'm not sure. So she begins moving her stuff in, and a lot of things come in. She brings in 13 different items. Lots of different things. I vaguely remember the items. But we started to hit it off in the dream. And then we started getting into a relationship situation. And in this dream, time's going by. So I don't know how many days, weeks, or months are taking place in this dream at this moment, okay? We get this relationship going and everything's great. And one day we're sitting down having breakfast, I remember. And we hear a knock at the door. And I say, I'll go get it. And I walk to the door, and there's a young Middle Eastern lady at my door. And she's like, is Jill here? And I was like, yeah, hang on, I'll get her. And that's weird. I didn't know anybody knew she was here, but whatever. So I go in there and get Jill. Jill, somebody's here for you. Little Middle Eastern woman. So Jill gets up, he goes up, and they're lifelong friends, basically. I come in, she comes in, we introduce, we sit around. All of a sudden, she's like telling me, she's like, hey, my friend's interested in us. And I'm like, what do you mean? And well, they start to double team me, we'll just say. And this is my dream now. So I'm getting double teamed. And of course, I'm not rejecting this idea, even though this is some weird dream going on. It's my dream going on. And I think in real life, I would actually think this through. But, like I said, maybe my little head was working better than my big head. I'm not sure. But, so, things progress, and we all hit it off, so to speak. And Jill comes up to me and says, hey, she needs a place to stay. Would you mind if she stays with us? And being the guy I was in the dream, I was like, well, I think about it. Even in my dream, I can remember thinking about it like, I could have this all the time. Okay, sure, move on in, come on in, that's cool with me. Right? Everything's going great. Everything's going great. So I don't know how many days in the dream that had passed by. It was shortly after. It was probably like right after. But we hear a knock on the door. And I say, I'll go get it. And I walk to the door, and I open the door, and there's 3 women in burqas right there at the door. And they ask for the young Middle Eastern woman, so I go get her, and come to find out, and when she introduces us all, that it's her family members from overseas, and they need a place to stay. So then they asked me, can they stay here? Can they stay here? Now, by now, in reality, I would have been like, I'm already like way out of character. But in my dream, I'm like, okay. I'm starting to get leery about it, right? So, as soon as I let them in, they head right for the cupboards, and they start eating all my food. And the girls are eating my food. Jill and her Middle Eastern friend. And they're all eating my food, they're talking, and they're having a good time. They'd send me out to go grocery shopping because we were out of food. So I'd have to go out, grocery shop, and I'd come back, bring them food, and they'd be eating it all. Then the teepee was missing. We're just missing teepee out of nowhere. And in the dream, I get home and I put the food down, and the little Burka girls are putting their hands in my pockets, taking out my money. Going through my wallet, taking out my money. And I pulled Jill aside. I'm like, Jill, you got to do something about your friends here, because not only are they eating all my food, they're taking my money. We're running out of TP, and it's costing me a fortune. And they've only been here a little while. Well, Jill starts to act weird and starts saying things to me like, why don't you like my friends? Are you a bigot? And I'm like, no, I'm not a bigot. Your friends, I don't even know these people, and they're running through my house, eating up all my food and using up my TP and taking my money. She's like, well, they're my friends. I can't ask them to change their ways. So then I hear another knock on the door, and I go to the door. And standing in the door is this African lady. Tall, big, scary looking. This beautiful Asian lady. In a suit coat, well dressed, pantsuit type thing, real nice, and a really hot Latino chick. And they ask for Jill, so I go get Jill, and Jill invites them in. And then she invites them to have some food and some drink and do what you want in the house. Be at home. And I'm like, Jill, we can't do this. I confront Jill on it. And she's like, why don't you like my friends? They're so nice. Why do you have to be this way? So in the middle of this little exchange, I hear another knock on the door. So I'm like, all right, let me get the door. I'm here going, what the hell, man? I just needed to get away for a minute. So I walk to the door. And I open the door, and you guys will never guess. I mean, in a million years, you wouldn't think these people would be at my door, but they were. Standing in my doorway was Cher, Madonna, and Lady Gaga. And guess who they asked for? They asked for Jill. And so I go get Jill, because I'm like, what the hell are these people doing here? I got three of the weirdest women on the face of the planet standing at my door, as if things aren't weird enough. So I get Jill, she goes to the door. I guess they all know each other. So Jill invites Cher in, and Madonna and Lady Gaga, and they're all having a good time. I remember Lady Gaga went over started lighting up all the candles in the house. That was her thing. She got there, and she just walked over and started lighting all the candles. She went through the cupboards, grabbed all the rest of the candles, just started lighting them all through the house. Cher was out there trying to sell beauty products to all the other women. And I'm like, this is out of hand. They're eating all my food. There's no food left. They're starting to drink my beer. The TP's gone. So I say something to Jill. I'm like, Jill, what's up with all your friends, man? We gotta stop this. I can't keep this up. They're tearing the house apart. And just then, the weirdest thing of all happened. An alien chick beams down into my house. She looked like that green chick from the Star Trek series. The Orion chick or whatever. Just beams down in the middle of my house. And then Jill starts bashing me in front of everybody. Calling me a racist, a homophobe, a bigot, all this other stuff. And I had enough. Because here we got Cher trying to sell beauty products to all the women, While this is going on, I found the Middle Eastern chick that we had the threesome with earlier. She was planting incriminating emails into my laptop. And they had wiener pictures all over them. The 3 Burker girls that were running around my house, they were taking down all my pictures. And then and my knickknacks, all these kind of, my knickknacks and all that, my Yoda doll, all this, they were taking all that down. And they were replacing it with United Nations flags and ISIS symbols. Then I see Lady Gaga over in the corner doing some weird occult ritual in the middle of the living room. She starts in the corner and she moves around and goes all the way around the middle of the living room, drawing a big, symbol there. She starts chanting and spitting blood all over the place, singing, John Podesta, John Podesta, in this ritual chant, John Podesta, like that, John Podesta. I'm really freaking out. I'm trying to kick everybody out now. I find that the African chick is in my bedroom, ripping off my television and all my valuables. I find the Asian chick, she's in my safe, exchanging my real money for her counterfeit money. The Latino chick's in the kitchen cooking the last of my food and making tacos. So I confront Jill and I'm over there telling everybody, get out of here. We don't want, get out, get out, get out. Madonna comes up to me and offers me a blowjob if everybody can stay. All this time, there's Lady Gaga in the corner doing this ritual. She goes around the pentagram, lighting another candle, chanting, John Podesta, John Podesta. And all of a sudden, this lightning bolt strikes down in the middle of the floor. Big flash of light. When my eyes get to focus again, the 13 women who were in my house all changed into Hillary Clinton.
What difference at this point does it make?
Needless to say, I woke up screaming. So you can see this election is really getting to me. So I can understand why nobody else wants to pay any attention anymore. We just want it over with. Done. Finished. Goodbye. Please. But at the same time, as my nightmare shows, we don't want Hillary. We don't want it. Oh. Got to take a quick station timeout, ladies and gentlemen. Please check out our sponsors, because without you supporting them, we don't have them to support us. More on the flip side.
Don't touch that dial. The John Lebang Show will be right back.
You can bet on it, man.
The following advertisement is paid for Banger for President 2016.
Hillary Clinton, she's ugly. And do you really want to hear this for the next 4 years?
What difference at this point does it make?
Or this? Or even this? I don't think so.
So do the right thing.
Vote for none of the above, man.
Or else you get this.
The world must understand that the United States will act decisively if necessary, including with military action.
Banger 2016.
I'm John Lebang, and I approve this message.
Well, it's that time of year again. The temperatures are dropping, and so are the leaves. And they're clogging up your gutters. Now, I know you don't want to go up there and do that yourself, so why don't you call John? He's running a fall special right now. $95 to clean out your gutters on a one-story house. So get those gutters cleaned before winter comes, and then some real damage happens. Look him up on Facebook. John's Gutter Cleaning. Leave it up to him.
Ladies, it doesn't matter if it's morning, noon, or night. Whether you've worked all day or you just woke up, If you've got the thirst, just wet your lips on a BJ. BJ beer, brewed right here in the great state of Michigan. Who wants a BJ?
You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
It's better than some Thai stick, man.
Yes, and I bet you're loving it.
Hey, pass that over.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You know, I have a great deal of election fatigue, and I'm sure many Americans feel the same way as I do. We've been under this constant barrage of information for over a year and a half now, constantly pounding us and slamming us and banging into us. We don't know which way to turn sometimes. There's so much information. We don't know what's right. We don't know what's wrong. We don't know what's bullshit. So I took some time off there in the first segment from the actual election. I've spoken enough. I've stated the case for Hillary Clinton to be thrown in jail, for you not to vote for Hillary Clinton. So if I skip a segment or two tonight with the election just on the horizon here, because I'm under election fatigue as well as many of you who are listening are. I mean, how much more can we take of this? Thank God it's almost over. Seriously. I mean, it's like a cruel joke. They have to keep pounding us for forever. And we have to pay attention to the election instead of what the current president has been doing, what the current world situation is like. I mean, we're about ready to head into Russia. But we all have election fatigue right now. And so to help you guys out, and to help myself out, my sanity and your sanity, I laid off of it a little bit in the first segment of the show. And we're going to blow off some steam right up until the end of the election and on this show and some other things that I'm doing. See, I had this great idea to throw an election day drunk party. We're just going to throw an election party, and I'm going to be hosting it on YouTube on Tuesday night. Now, some of the stations that carry this hour of the broadcast are going to hear this after the fact. So I did talk about it in the first hour so that everybody who wants to come to the election coverage, the drunken election coverage, can do so. And it'll be on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to be producing a video commercial to invite everybody to come. I'll be putting up a Facebook invite to everybody who's my Facebook friends. If you're not my Facebook friends, go to my Facebook page and like the page on the John Lebang Show right there. We'll be posting the event there for you, and you can join it. You can share it with your friends. I know we're just so sick and tired of this election. And we're all worried about the outcome and how it can damage the country. And I think this is a great way for us just to take a deep breath after, drink a little bit. Think of it as like the extended weekend. We've had this extremely long election cycle. It's like a long-ass work week. And we've got our day off. We're going to go vote. And then we're going to meet back at 7:30 at my YouTube channel. And we're going to drink during the election while the results are coming in. If Donald Trump wins a state, we're going to drink to that. If Hillary Clinton wins a state, we're going to drink to that as well. Except, at least for me, the drink that I'll be drinking for Hillary is something I'm going to hate. I'm going to hate it. But I think I have to toughen myself up, because I do believe Hillary Clinton's going to win. the election. And because I believe Hillary Clinton's going to win the election, unless some miracle happens, and I'm not saying Donald Trump winning is a miracle, I'm saying the miracle would be that Hillary doesn't win. We have no other choice besides Trump. It's either going to be Hillary or Trump for president. The third parties are not going to make it. We know that by now. It's a pipe dream to think so. You might want to vote to state your protest for the third parties. That's just well and good. I understand that. But being that this might be the most important election of any of our lifetimes, do you really want to have a protest vote at this time? Because if you think about it, who are you protesting? You're protesting the elite, aren't you? And that for sure is Hillary. So your protest vote, if you're going to throw it on a third party, is probably going to help Hillary Clinton now. Because that'll be one less vote for her direct opposition. And am I saying Trump is a good candidate? No, he's not. There's a lot wrong with Trump. But Hillary is the major problem. If Hillary were ever to get into the White House, the level of corruption would reach astronomical levels. We would never be able to recover as a country from the damage Hillary Clinton will impose on the country. It's been hard enough living through 8 years of Barack Obama. 8 years of dealing with Barry and his policies, which have not only, with the help of George Bush, I don't want to leave him out. Obama and Bush created the situation to put an opposition candidate like Donald Trump in the position he is, because those elite presidents have taken this country right into the sewer. And here we have set up for Hillary Clinton not only a demoralized country, a fiscally destroyed country, we're looking at an incredible amount of danger if Hillary Clinton were to win the presidency. And I've been stating that, and I don't know how else to state it any differently. If Hillary Clinton is allowed to win with with everything that has been placed before us, all the scandals that have been wrapped around the Clintons, Hillary Clinton in particular, and yet she still has a chance of winning the election. Hillary Clinton, which is involved in more scandals than probably any other person in the history of government. And besides the email scandal that's going on and the voter fraud scandal where Bernie Sanders got ripped off from being the candidate for the Democrat Party, besides all the other stuff where they're showing the scandal behind Hillary, where she's practically funding groups to go out and cause trouble and injure people at Donald Trump rallies. And when we get back from break and we get into the last half hour of this week and the last half hour of this show before the election, we're going to talk about 10 scandals, 10 of them, that are being overlooked that Hillary has been involved with. Ones you might have forgotten. But I'm not going to let you forget. I'm going to remind you. Because we're in a dangerous time, folks. And we need to pull out all the stops. More on the flip side.
Don't think about touching that dial.
That would be a mistake.
The John LeBang Show will be right back after this.
That's guaranteed, man. Like some good Thai stick.
Check out the new book from Derek Shelmerdine,
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It tells the story of rock and roll from its roots right up until the mid-70s punk.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Not just the music, but also the events that shaped the music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It includes the backgrounds to recording sessions, singles, album releases, births and deaths, epic concerts, and festivals.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Shelmerdine has made a painstaking effort to document pretty much every event that would prove significant in shaping popular music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Purchase the book at www.rockandrollunraveled.com. Follow him at Twitter at R&R Unraveled and look him up on Facebook at Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
By author Derek Shelmerdine.
Available now.
You know, if you're getting married soon and you need good entertainment, you need to contact John LeBang. He's got 30 years of experience of wedding entertainment under his belt, and there is no one better and no one cheaper. He's running a special to the end of the year, $500 for your wedding if you book now. Contact John LeBang by email at jlebang@live.com or go to his website. That's www.jlebang.com.
Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
Forces of darkness, the treasonable minds who collaborate, must, can, and will be wiped from the face of the earth.
And welcome back to the final half hour of this week's broadcasts. I'm still dealing with the election fatigue, and I'm trying to battle through it here the last little bit before we put the election to bed, and as we're going to have to deal with in the weeks to come, the aftermath. We'd like to just put this whole thing to bed, move on, but I do not believe it's going to turn out that way. If Donald Trump happens to win, there is going to be chaos in the country. If Hillary Clinton happens to win, there is going to be chaos in the country. The one big difference between the two chaoses is, for sure, if Hillary is in office, it's going to come with tons and tons of corruption. So Hillary Clinton has been involved in many, 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 many scandals. And here, in this next segment, I'm going to remind you of some of these scandals. Do you remember Chinagate? The Clinton-Gore campaign in 1996 allegedly took bribes from the Chinese banks and their governments to help their dwindling poll numbers. They needed money, so the Chinese government gave them money so they could do campaigns, commercials. The Chinese embassy in D.C. helped siphon funds into the DNC. Secretary of Commerce Ron Brown, and at Hillary's instruction, reportedly sold seats on department trade missions to China. Pay for play. Joint congressional hearings were canceled after Democrats threatened to bring up Republican campaign issues, and then Monica Lewinsky actually saved this scandal from media attention. So maybe they put that out themselves. You ever think of that? How about Travelgate? Do you remember that one? Catherine Cornelius, a 25-year-old cousin of Bill, was allegedly promised the position of director of travel office. Then Hillary Clinton fired 7 employees from the United States Travel Office and replaced them with associates from Arkansas. Records were either nowhere to be found or incorrectly filed. And there was a report of an attempt to give a White House airline contract to a friend. Hillary had the FBI investigate Bill Daley, the head of the travel office, ruining his career, who was found to do no wrong at all, but was then audited by the IRS 3 years later. How about the Whitewater scandal? That's where Hillary and her husband were partners in a shady real estate development called Whitewater Development Corp. In Arkansas. Accusations of improprieties against the Clintons and others soon surfaced. Regarding the improprieties, campaign contributions, political favors, financial favors, and tax benefits. The Clintons and their friends and majority owners, James and Susan McDougal, were jailed for fraud. Clinton's successors, Governor Jim Tucker, was jailed for fraud along with municipal judges David Hale and Eugene Fitzhugh, who worked with James McDougal. The Clintons walked away unscathed, having apparently done nothing wrong. Sounds like they had more power than anything. How about the Vince Foster Jr. mystery? Questions cloud the suicide of Vince Foster, former colleague and friend and White House aide of Hillary's, who had connections to Travelgate and the Whitewater scandals. There's a book entitled The Man Who Knew Too Much. You should read into that book. How about Filegate? Do you remember that? Craig Livingston, director of the White House's Office of Personal Security, improperly accessed FBI files on several hundred individuals. Mrs. Clinton called it a complete, honest, bureaucratic snafu. Hillary Clinton hired Livingston and is alleged to have looked at the files and requested this move. She was accused by Republicans of violating privacy rights of individuals she viewed as political adversaries. Now just remember, I keep warning you how Hillary deals with her adversaries and her opponents. How about the cattle futures? Remember that one? Hillary's first commodity trade was in cattle futures, where she ordered 10 future contracts, which normally cost $1,200, with only $1,000 in her account. This turned into $6,300 by the next morning. And after 10 months, it totaled $100,000 with trading help from James B. Blair. How about Lootergate? Bill and especially Hillary started to ship White House furniture to their personal homes in Chappaqua, New York. The Clintons returned some of the furniture after pressure was put on them to do so. How about the drug dealer donor scandal? Convicted drug dealer trafficker George Cabrera apparently made such a big donation to the Clinton campaign that he was invited to the White House without security service present. Nice, huh? How about the Ponzi scheme and political favor scandal? Norman Young Yu Husin was a convicted pyramid investment promoter and major Democratic donor. He contributed to undisclosed amount to Hillary Clinton's 2008 campaign. He is now sentenced to 24 years in prison. Yet, all those scandals and nothing at all has happened to Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton. And just a quick reminder, in case you forgot, with all the other things going on, Benghazi. You remember that? Where one of our foreign consulate diplomats was killed along with some other people. And they were requesting aid, and people wanted to go there to help them, and they were told to stand down. And we are now finding out that it was running guns to Syria, to rebel groups who happen to turn out to be ISIS. That's not conjecture. Take some time and read what's been released by WikiLeaks. There are direct connections to the Clintons, the Obama administration, the Saudis, the Qataris, and ISIS. But you don't want to believe that, do you? You can't believe that the United States president and the possible next president could be in some kind of massive cover-up scandal. Just can't happen here in the United States. That's impossible. No way. Hillary Clinton's too clean for that. She's never been involved in any scandals. She's never been around dirty people. Strange things have not happened to any of her previous associates. Go ahead and vote for her if you want. Go ahead and vote for her. When all this stuff starts coming down because she's in office, when her puppet masters tell her to do something, and she goes out there and does it, and it finally affects you, and it finally wakes you up, it's going to be too late. Because she's going to be in. And if we haven't been able to impeach Obama, there's no way we're going to impeach Hillary. She's going to be in office. Even if there is an investigation, do you think she'll step down? Hillary's in this for the long haul. She's going to do it or die trying. And she's going to be president. And she's going to implement the policies that she wants to implement. Of course, by the orders of her master, we'll say it that way. By the orders of her masters. And she'll get rich beyond her wildest dreams. And you'll watch your freedoms slip away. And you won't take any blame. You'll blame her. You'll blame somebody else. Maybe you'll blame the Republicans. Maybe you'll blame somebody like me for not warning you any sooner. But you won't take the blame. You're probably the same person who voted for Barack Hussein Obama. And as we've watched the largest intelligence agency grab the apparatus of this country is now listening in on every single phone call, watching every single text. President Obama brags about him building this network of spies on his own people. And you're proud of that, aren't you? That you put him in there? You're proud that you got Obamacare, which forces people to buy a private product by an insurance company. One you probably hate, actually. If you're part of that Occupy Wall Street group, you hate all the insurance companies and the banks. Yeah. Yeah, you're okay when people are forced into purchasing these lovely products so that way you can get a reduced payment because you don't want to pay that much for insurance. So you make the government do it. And the government has to take it from the people who have it. And you're okay with that. Because the people who have it should just go out and work harder. You don't need to go work harder for your stuff. Nope. All right, folks. We're up against our next break here. One more segment this week. One more segment before we get to the election. One more segment before the fate of the United States is determined.
Hey, don't touch that dial. The John Lebang Show will be right back. I promise.
Fans, do you need a video for your brand new song but don't have a lot of money? Then contact John Lebang. His reasonable rates, professional look, and fast turnarounds will help get that song off the ground. Contact him at jlebang.com. If you want to call into the John Lebang Show, just dial 313-444-8919 or send us an email at jlebang@live.com, or you could just join the chat room at the station you're listening to. Banger.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for this final segment here this week. I'm going to make a personal plea to everybody. Those of you who are considering not voting, those of you who are still undecided, and even those of you who are considering voting third party, and even Hillary. See, Donald Trump, he's got his base. Those people, you're not going to convince them to change their mind. And because he is either going to be president or Hillary's going to be president, and I can't afford 4 years of Hillary. The 8 years of Barack Obama have done untold damage to my financial situation. There are no good jobs for me to go after. Everything is just above minimum wage. You have to work your brains off, barely get paid, because most of the new jobs that have been created are part-time jobs. And with the aid of George Bush and the Congress, the Democrat Congress of that time, the financial collapse, the Great Recession that happened prior to Obama, that ushered Obama in, that allowed Obama to wreak the policies that have stagnated the country, that have hurt the average working class citizen, all while claiming that they were for the working class, imposing laws and rules that we had to accept and that we couldn't read until they passed the bill. The financial devastation that has happened to people just like me, where we lost our jobs because of the policies of George Bush and the Democrat Congress. The ones that couldn't find the jobs after, because we lost so many jobs, there weren't enough jobs to replace the jobs we lost. And at 1% growth, barely 1% growth, the jobs haven't come back in the numbers that have been lost. And the jobs that have come back are part-time, low-paying jobs. If they are full-time jobs, you've got to put in massive overtime. You've got to become a slave. And if you're fortunate to have a job that gives you insurance, that's great. But because part-time jobs don't require that, according to the law, they've increased exponentially. And more people are going without insurance, and they either have to take a subsidy, which means they are taking money from other people to pay for their insurance, or they have to go without insurance in protest of being told they have to get insurance. And it's financially crippling a lot of people. The taxes that are raking in more money than ever inside our government. Yet they are still creating more debt. Nearly $20 trillion in debt. There's not enough money to pay it off. There's not enough people to pay it off. Hillary Clinton is going to continue these policies. The policies that Barack Obama have put in place. The policies of toppling governments and watching the Middle East burn. The policies of confronting Russia, challenging Russia at every turn. The policies of making trade deals with countries that deal with terrorists, that support terrorism. The importation of people into this country through expedient needs and in expedient ways to get them in, bypassing the entire process of becoming an American. Making sure, vetting the people that are coming in will meld, will join the American culture, not change it. Hillary Clinton represents communism, socialism. I met a gentleman the other day who lived in Hungary. He told me his story. You see, he's old enough to remember World War II because he was 8 years old when World War II ended. He watched as the American tanks rolled through, the German tanks rolled through, the Hungarian military fought in his backyard. The Russians rolled through. He lived under Russian rule, that communist rule. You know what he said? He said Hillary represents everything that he came to America to escape. I took a little audio on my phone. Just a real little short audio. This man has seen what tyrannical leaders are and what they can become. He knows.
What'd you say about Hillary?
Anybody who has a right mind to vote for is sick.
Heed this man's warning.
You heard that from where'd you come from?
I'm Hungarian.
And you lived through communism?
Yes, I did.
There you go, folks. Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, John. Well, I've been waiting for you to say cool or uncool is coming up. Hey, Shady, come on, sit down. We'll do it now. It's got to be short, though. We don't have much time.
Well, that's because you keep talking all night. You know, you're taking away from the fun part of the show.
Well, we're not going to be talking about the election much more, are we?
Thank God for that. I'm about sick of it myself.
So, did you come up with a cool or uncool this evening? We didn't have any show prep.
You haven't had show prep in a couple weeks. All you've been doing is talking about what you've been talking about.
Well, hopefully I gave everybody decent enough election coverage and that people who have been listening have learned a lot of stuff, and maybe going forward we'll have gained some credibility with some folks.
Well, you can only hope, but most people don't give a shit.
All right, tonight's cool or uncool is
the election being over.
Very fitting, Shady.
Thank God.
Now you can email us your responses to jlebang@live.com, or you can comment in the chat room at the station that you're listening to us on.
And if you want to call in, just dial 313-444-8919.
We might have a new number come the new year.
What do you mean, new number?
Well, yeah, we're we're going to branch out a little bit, and I think we're going to have our own number, and we're going to do some live shows on YouTube, and we're going to actually have people calling in on that number.
Really? That sounds pretty good. Am I going to be able to be on?
Well, no, I'm going to do the live things myself.
You're not going to let any of us on?
Well, you can call in if you want.
I got to call into your show, one of your best friends in the world. Now I got to call in.
Well, you sound great on the radio, Shady, when you're calling in. We've had so many great times. You remember those times?
Yeah, I remember those times. You know what I also remember?
What's that?
That we're playing Cool or Uncool right now.
Our first call comes in from AJ in Austin. What say you?
Feel that flame of rebellion starting to lap up and lick right up there. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Ah!
Okay, thanks for your call. Listening to us on 920 WON The Apple in New York. Donald, what say you?
Who is Uma married to? One of the great sleazebags of our time. Anthony Weiner. Did you know that? She's married to Anthony Weiner. You know, the little bing, bing, bing. Bum, bum. I love you very much.
Thanks for your call.
God, I can't wait for this thing to be over.
Going out to Iowa, where he's listening in on Code Zero Radio. What say you?
Vote Trump, and vote Trump. That's all I gotta say.
Is that a cool or an uncool?
Long as Trump wins, that's cool.
Okay, thanks for your call. Well, that's the first cool so far.
Yeah, this ain't working out like I thought it would.
Over to Chicago, where she's listening to us on 24.7 The Stream. Peppa, what say you?
Obama!
Thanks for your call.
I think this election has made everybody crazy.
We've got an email here from Hillary. She says, uncool, and I'm not a crook.
I can't wait for that woman to go to jail.
Anybody saying anything in the chat room, Shady?
Everybody's saying cool, because they want the election over just like the rest of us do.
The cools have it.
Good, because I'm ready to have a beer. I'll see you later, John.
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for yet another weekend, 2 hours down the drain of the John Lebang Show. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that Tuesday night, election night, we are going to be heading over to my YouTube channel. I invite all of you to come on by. You can just type in the search engine Banger Incorporated. It'll be available on my website, so you can watch from there, www.jlebang.com. It'll also be available on our Facebook page, so you can watch from there. So if you're on Facebook, like our page, and you'll be able to catch that then. We're inviting you to all to come down. We want you to bring 2 kinds of alcohol, because this is a bash. We are blowing off some steam after being inundated for the past year and a half. In this election, it will finally be over. And I think we all need a drink. So bring 2 kinds of drinks if you're coming, ladies and gentlemen. Bring one you enjoy. That'll be for the candidate you like. And bring one that you cannot stand, that is bitter and whatever, that makes you cringe drinking it, and that'll be for the candidate you don't like. Every time they win a state, you'll get to drink a shot or whatever from each one. I think that's a great way. Doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, because we're still the little people, ladies and gentlemen. We can fight all we want about who this and that and the other thing. And I may think that people who are voting for Hillary Clinton are stupid, ignorant. Shame on them for doing it. But after this election, things are going to get ugly. Things are going to get scary. It's best we just have one good night to let off some steam. I'd like to thank all my affiliate stations out there. Thank you all for listening. And until the vibrations of my vocal cords reach your ears again, this is John Lebang. Until next week, I am signing off.
4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Tune in again next week. Same time, same space, same station.
Resistance